We're joined live by CTV political commentator Scott Reid. Scott, I'm curious, what do you think the key message is going to be from the Prime Minister to the premiers?
Well, I think a couple of things. When they met last week, or I guess it was 2 weeks ago now, I think really the fundamental message was, guys, let's hang together. Let's not start running off in 5, 15, 20 different directions. Let's form together a common approach. And now it's on the Prime Minister to present that approach to the premiers and to a certain degree even sort of say to them, here's how I'd like to harness all of you. And these are the things I was hoping you could help with and tasks that you might be able to execute in this broader effort. But fundamentally, the first agenda item is going to be border. Trump has said it's about the border. I don't think any of us really believe it's about the border, but let's call this bluff. And so you hear that there's going to be talk of $1 billion plan that's going to increase, physical and technological infrastructure at the border, cracking down on those sorts of things. And then I think the question is, well, once we get to the border, what lies beyond?
I'm curious in terms of the kind of posture and strategy moving into talking and negotiations with the president. We've seen some of the recent tweets and some of the rhetoric that he's using, calling the prime minister the governor of the 51st state of America. I'm wondering what kind of just approach you think that the prime minister is going to take when heading back for negotiations, given the kind of rhetoric that's being thrown around.
I think you put your thumb on it. That's the critical question. And I suspect that a lot of the premiers will be putting that question to the prime minister and saying to him directly, how tough are you going to get with Trump? What tone are you going to take? Are you going to toughen the tone? We've seen with this, a couple of postings now, and people sort of shrug their shoulders and laugh at this stuff. I don't actually think it's a laughing matter. Donald Trump flying a flag over Canada and Donald Trump referring to Canada as a state, not a country. I think those are serious things from the man who leads, will soon be leading again, the most powerful democracy in the world, who's our largest partner and ally and economic partner. And I do think that at some point you have to say, well, we tried to avoid this bully. We tried to get along with this bully. I think now we're going to have to get a little tougher with this bully. So the question I think a lot of premiers will ask, the question a lot of us just watching are going to be asking is, when will we see a list of retaliatory tariffs? When will we see a flash of steel saying, listen, Mr. President, you asked about the border. Here's the actions, the specific actions we're taking on the border and the investments we're making. Now, if that's not good enough, we can hurt you also. If you're going to proceed with these tariffs, you put us in a position where we must proceed in this way, and here's our list of tariffs. I think at some point you have to show a little strength when it comes to dealing with Trump, because he does not respect silence. He interprets it as weakness.
And very quickly, Scott, along with the border, one of the other things that the incoming president is looking at is getting all other NATO members, including Canada, to reach its targets for spending, something that we haven't done. How do you anticipate the prime minister to respond to that?
Well, I think there's an inevitability to that. I do think when you take a look at the state of the world, increasing our commitments makes sense. And I think you've got an odd consensus among premiers. I say odd because you've got liberal premiers, you've got New Democrat premiers, and you've got conservative premiers. And they're all saying this is something that we should do. I think for the federal government, for the prime minister in particular, they may be holding back because you don't just want to surrender these things. You want to get something in exchange. If we're going to make that kind of massive financial commitment in exchange, we should get some tariff relief. If we offer it up proactively, there's a very high risk that Donald Trump will say, well, that's a bill of sale that I think I'm owed, and you get exactly zero in exchange for it. So the horse trading on all of this is also a critical question.
That's CTV's political commentator, Scott Reid. Always appreciate the chat. Thank you.